Good evening, guys. This is Akhil. I want to discuss the topic called Farm Bills 2020, where is much uproar against it in India at present. It is the most hottest topic, not only in India, but even from some world countries also looking at it with different opinions. So we'll get into that topic. But before I start the topic regarding farm bills, I wanted to tell you the structure of Indian agriculture. So what is the need for farm bills 2020? Why do we need farm bills? And before that, what was the need for this situation? Okay, so if I clearly tell about Indian agriculture, see, India's agriculture predominantly, it is a weather dependent agriculture. True. Second point, it has too many problems. That's the reason why every year we see farmer suicides. Of course, for the past 6 years, there is no literally any report regarding farmer suicides. This clearly shows the gravity of the problem. Okay, so as the government of India is not providing the details of the farmer suicides, shows the gravity of the problem, guys. So what are the problems of the farmer community? First point, if I say one thing, if you see average, according to NSSO survey, 2018, it says that if each farmer household income is 8,990 rupees. And in that, farmer earns from agriculture only 2,600 rupees. Remaining rupees have to come to farmer through other activities. Activities include non-farming activities like Manrega and livestock activities. Okay, in that the farmer earns money. So the contribution of agriculture for farmers' income is not 50% also. It is 30% nearly, approximately 30% near that farmer earns through agriculture. This is the situation. Why is such pathetic situation for Indian farmer? Why not from other countries? Okay, why other country people are enjoying benefits, having benefits? Because other country farmers are having benefits because of the type of farming prevail in that country. Indian farmers are dependent on intensive farming, and other countries they dependent on what? Extensive farming, where they have large stretch of lands. But whereas in India we have a problem called fragmentation, land fragmentation. Why? Because of the population. India land get divided into among the heirs. Okay, land get divided. So if even the father has 5 acres of land, it get divided into 1 acre among his sons. This is the situation, guys. So if we see the statistics present day, average one farmer owns 1.16 acres of land. So this is the only very piece of land. Can he do innovation? Can he go for mechanization? Can he go for good technology there? He cannot, because using that 1.16 acres of land, can he bring changes on the field? He cannot, because he is a small and marginal farmer. Whereas the large farmers, agriculture, if you see other percentage, 3% farmers own 76% of land in India. 3% of farmers own 76% of land in India, agriculture land. So in India has land inequality clearly. So land reforms are the need of the hour. That is different case. Okay, so farmers with such minuscule production, with 20% of land is used by 97% of people. Okay, so the average is what? 1.16 acres of land is owned by a single farmer. This is the situation in India, guys. So now that farmer, after sowing the field, he will get his yield. But another problem is, he has less mechanization. He cannot go for mechanization because of the same credit issues, loaning issues, capital issues. He has many problems. And another problem was, his produce which he has got through farm, he has to sell it in the market. Will he be able to sell? First point, if he is selling the market, he has many market problems. Okay, and after selling in the market also, whether the price which he gets for the produce, is it correct as per the situation? Is it what the farmer is expecting? Is it satisfying the farmer's appetite? All these are questions. So if I see the problems of the farming, there are market problems. There is a problem of price assurance. Okay, there is a problem of many deficiency in the farmer production. Even MS Swaminathan, after many recommendations also, there are problems of price assurance in India. Okay, even after Green Revolution, there are problems with Indian agriculture. Okay, even after Green Revolution 2.0, we have problems within India. Why? What are the reasons for farmers facing such problems? So in this situation or in this backdrop of farming problems, we have got to farm bills. So government of India, in order to find a panacea, in order to find a solution for all the problems, in order to find solution for farmer suicides, in order to find a solution for doubling farmers' income by 2022. Of course, it has changed now. Okay, doubling farmers' income, and in order to solve the problems of agriculture, Indian government has bought Farm Bill 2020. See, I've said you, Indian farming has problems. Indian farming has some bigger ultimate problems. Because of that, Indian farming is unable to cope up with the present world. Of course, there are many problems which I haven't discussed. Okay, but these problems why I discussed, because they are in the context. Okay, so in order to solve the problems of market, in order to solve the problems of farmers selling his produce, in order to give him protection, in order to protect him, theoretically, in order to protect him theoretically, Government of India has bought what? Farm Bills 2020. These Farm Bills 2020 are 3 in number. One is the Farmer Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill. First bill on Empowerment and Protection. Second bill on Trade and Commerce. Third bill on Essential Commodities. I'll tell you the provisions of each particular bill. Then we will see whether it is correct as per the reality. Then why farmers are protesting? If farmers are protesting, why only from Haryana and Punjab? Okay, why not from other states? We'll see that. Next case is what? We will also see if farmers are protesting. Even if Government of India is giving assurances. Government of India, even now there are 6 talks happened between leaders of farming community and the Government of India. Even now government could not satisfy the people. Why? What is the problem? What is a myth and what is reality? Who is getting benefited with these farm bills? We will answer all the questions, guys, which is actually there in your mind. Okay, and first point I want to tell you clearly that I am not associated with any political party, nor my intention is not to promote any political ideology also. My purpose is to say whether it is correct or wrong. Okay, as according to my analysis and according to my rationality, I am giving you this opinion. Okay guys, got it. Now see, the term itself says what is a farm bill. Okay, the first one, it says that the farmers' empowerment and protection. The farmers' empowerment and protection. On what? Protecting what? Protecting the price assurance. What is the price assurance? See, and farm services. Protecting or empowering the farmers, its price assurance and the farm services. Protecting the price assurance, where does the farmer get the price? He gets the price when he sells his produce. Especially this particular bill is speaking about contract farming. I want to tell you, see guys, earlier I said about farming problems. Farmer is unable to go to the market. How? He goes to the market, he has to sell his produce. If he is trying to sell his produce, have you seen some South Indian movies? In that movie, the farmer goes to the market, he wants to sell the product, then the shop owner says, we will buy it 1 rupee only. Then farmer will go for another shop. The particular shop owner is a friend of that particular person. He'll say that we will buy only for 50 paisa. In that way, they form all cartels. They form what? Cartels. Once they form cartel, the farmer couldn't realize the best price. So ultimately, farmer has to throw away his produce, especially perishable products, or give at any rate to the shop owner and go away. This is happening. This is happening in the market. Okay. So in order to stop this situation, what Government of India has done, one of the best solution was contract farming. Yes, according to contract farming, the corporate will go to the farmer, will ask the farmer that I wanted to buy this, I wanted this product. This is in demand in the market. I wanted this, so you make this. I will give you technology, I will give you seeds, I will give you methodology also, and I will give you loan also. You take everything, you do for me, and I will buy your product with this fixed price, with these prices. Okay, they will be making an agreement. That legal agreement will be made. Okay, and money also, everything shall be declared. Everything shall be signed at that moment only. Okay, from that situation, then after time completes, then corporate will come and buy your product. In that way, the farmer is getting what? Fixed money plus fixed customer also. And technology, everything shall be same. Everything will be okay. But remember guys, I already said you that Indian farming problem was land fragmentation. Each farmer has only 1 acre of land, 1.16 acre of land. So compare the situation of 1 acre farmer with the corporate monster. I'm sorry, I'm using this word, but think that if the corporate has come to this particular person who owns only 1 acre of land. This corporate coming to the farmer with 1 acre of land, who has more bargaining power? Of course, the corporate. Because a farmer with 1 acre of land will not please the corporate. The situations have happened. So contract farming is a solution, but the contract farming should be regulated. Contract farming is a solution because contract farming gives you what? Contract farming gives you this fixed supplier, fixed buyer, plus fixed currency also, fixed money also. Of course, there are its own problems. Okay, fixed buyer and fixed money. In that way, market problems are lost. Okay, so in that understanding, Government of India bought what? Government of India bought protection of farmer with price assurance and farm services. So indirectly it is speaking about what? Contract farming. According to this, a legal agreement will be between a farmer and the buyer. That legal agreement will be given, in that everything will be written saying that I am giving you this particular seed, particular technology, you do this, you do that. Okay, one fine day I will come to you, I will buy your good. Clearly written in that legal agreement. Fine. So it is appearing excellent theoretically now. Perfect. Now next problem. See guys, I will tell you the situation here. Already I said you that, first point, if here the farmer and the corporate, they both got into legal agreement. Fine. Theoretically it is good. But remember a situation, I already said you that farmer is very minuscule, very small and marginal. He doesn't have bargaining power when compared to the corporate. And I'll tell you, recently there was an example in Gujarat with PepsiCo and the potato growers of Gujarat. What was the issue? No, potato growers of Gujarat, they got a contract agreement with the PepsiCo. PepsiCo came to them and PepsiCo prepared Lay's chips, potato chips. That came to the farmer. But that particular company, instead of accepting the agreement, earlier made agreement, they started finding loopholes in that. They said that we wanted this type of potato. We don't want this particular mold, fungus on this particular potato. So we don't want this one. So you did not do this. You did not do that. This is not expected. So we will pay you less. We will pay you less. So everything is clearly written in the agreement. It said that if you don't do this, we will not pay you. Okay, it was clearly written. But after that legal agreement, whenever the time has come to honor, because of some intentional reasons, that particular company will try to find loopholes in the agreement. Because it happened. Okay, it happened. So this particular farmers has, and one thing remember guys, there is nowhere written in the farm bill that it can go to court. There is nowhere written in the farm bill that whenever farmer finds any problem with the legal agreement, he cannot go to court. He has to go to SDM, some normal collector, district collector. He has to go to that SDM. But is it possible for a small farmer to go to SDM and file a complaint there and asking for the solution? Impossible. Because recently there was an issue. In Gujarat, PepsiCo company did not honor the agreement of the potatoes. Thus, those farmers have gone there and SDM did not find any mistake and he has favored in favor of the particular company. He has favored the company. Of course, these are the situations guys. So contract farming, even though it was beneficial, but on paper it is good. But whenever it comes to practicality, it lacked the methodology. It lacked the methodology. So farmers are asking this. So theoretically it is good. The legal agreement, we have a fixed buyer. That buyer is buying product with some fixed rates. Okay, fixed prices, everything is cool. But whenever it comes to reality, this is not the case guys. Got it? Next situation, we'll explain. So this one you understood now. What are the provisions and what farmers are fighting for. Second case, Farming Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill. Farming Produce Trade and Commerce. See, this bill is clearly speaking about what? One nation, one market scheme. One nation, one market. Ultimately, that means I'll tell you what government's intention is. Now, in India, at present, if I am a local farmer, I want to sell my produce. I want to sell my produce. So what I'll do? I'll try to go to a recent mandi which is near to me. I'll go there. I'll try to sell my produce. Okay. But the problem here is what? Cartelization. Till now I explained that all the buyers will form cartel and they'll set the prices predeterminedly, so that the farmers are losing, because if they fight with the price which they are fixing, with the same prices I have to sell. In that way I could not realize the best price. So Government of India with great intention bought this second bill. According to that, any person, any farmer, anywhere in India, if he can see that, for example, a farmer in Telangana, if he found good price for his cotton in Delhi, he can send his good there. He can sell his good there. This is the provision saying that one nation, one market. In one nation, one market, any farmer, anywhere he can sell. Anywhere, whatever and whenever, he can sell the product. This is the clause which is given in this. But remember guys, if this is the theoretical point, that means a farmer in Telangana also can sell product anywhere. Fine. But assume the situation now. A small marginal farmer with 1.12 acres of land, will he hire a lorry with all these goods, and can he take this particular goods to somewhere outside the state? Impossible. And that might add burden on him only. So who will take this benefit of this? The benefit is taken by whom? The benefit is taken by the corporates. Because in India, all products, remember one thing, this is very important guys. In India, all products, except agriculture products, can be sold anywhere. If I manufacture chair, I can manufacture in Telangana, I can sell in Delhi also. But agriculture products are not this. Till now, agriculture products should be sold in that state only. APMC mandis are recognized and fixed mandis. That if you are selling in that mandis only, you will get MSP. You will get minimum support price. I'll speak about that also guys, don't worry. Okay, if you are selling in the APMC only, you will get minimum support price. Fine. So, every farmer has to sell in APMC mandis only. Fine. That was the case. Other than APMC mandis, if you are selling outside, you will not get MSP. You have to sell it to own price. Sell it to the price which you are willing. That is the condition. I'll tell you that also. So at present what I'm saying, farmer, till now, he can sell any product except agriculture products. Agriculture products should be sold in that state only. Why? Because agriculture is a state subject. Agriculture is a state subject. So every state will put domestic, in order to protect its domestic farmers, it will put some barriers. It can put some barriers. It is accepted because ultimately protecting my domestic farmers is my motive. So states are putting barriers. So till now this was not happening. This was not happening. But now entire market is open. So indirectly farmer in Telangana can use the benefit of Gujarat. For example, the cotton price is good in Gujarat. Okay. Then automatically Telangana farmer can sell his cotton in Gujarat. So he can get his good price. This is a theoretical explanation. But practically speaking guys, small farmer, is it possible for him to hire a lorry? Or even if 10-20 farmers also, if they hire a lorry, if they go to that particular place in Gujarat, if they try to sell, will they realize the exact price which they are feeling for? No. First point. Second is, who will take the benefit of this? The corporates will take the benefit of it. How? I'll tell you. See, take the example of Punjab, Haryana. In Punjab, Haryana, what you find? You find more wheat and paddy. Wheat and paddy you find more. If you come to Telangana, Tamil Nadu, these regions, you find less of them. Okay, so there are less buyers. So automatically those areas, in that, to be clear, in that areas, government is procuring more. Government is buying more products. Okay, government is buying more products. What products? This wheat and rice. If government is procuring there is more demand. Okay, government is buying the paddy and wheat there. So there are more players there. If there are more players, automatically there is more demand. If there is more demand, there is more prices. Got it? So in Punjab, Haryana, the prices are higher. The prices of wheat and paddy are higher. So now corporate what is trying to do? If he takes products from Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Maharashtra region, Karnataka region, all the goods he will try to sell there in that markets. In that way, he is trying to use the benefit of what? The price is high in the particular markets. Whereas the small farmers, is he doing? No, he cannot. Because it's impossible for him to hire a lorry and go there. Whereas corporate, he has much capital. Similarly, he has storages also. That may take time for him. So he might store somewhere in the cold storages. But is it possible for a small farmer? No. So small farmer, marginal farmer cannot do this. But whereas corporates can store his goods and he can sell anywhere he wants. In that way, he uses the concept of price rise in the Punjab and Haryana market. So because of one nation, one market scheme, this farmers, corporates from one state, he is using it very easily. Earlier, one agriculture product cannot be sold in another state. But whereas now, he can sell it. But who are selling? Not farmers, but agriculture corporates. Okay, so this is the situation. So the Farming Produce Trade and Commerce Bill 2020, it is trying to what? Facilitating what? Facilitating the trade between states. Fine. Second concept is, next is, I'll tell you. Till now what, let me be clear with MSP concept. So what was MSP? Just like in India, minimum support price. Just like in India we have Minimum Wages Act. We have minimum support price. Like this is the price from which the selling and buying should start. So Government of India, after understanding the farmer problem. So farmer is, what is the problem with farmer? He could not realize the best price for him. So according to MS Swaminathan, present what they are doing, MS Swaminathan said that a farmer will doubling the farmer's income shall only happen when the farmer gets 50% more than his cost of production. CP plus 50%. This should be the best price. So Government of India is not doing with CP, but of course it is giving more than the cost of production. So what is MSP? Minimum support price. That means in order to support the farmers, Government of India is buying the products. So what is the need for government to buy? Because I'll tell you, it has to feed 20 crore people. Why? Because there is an act, National Food Security Act. So what, according to that act, it is compulsory for the Government of India to give food to the people of India. It is a legislation. So if it is form of legislation, it has to give at any cost. In order to fulfill that obligation, government is buying like products at MSP. In that way, it is doing two works. One is MSP concept, another is it is going with what? Food distribution also. Food security, income security to the farmers and food security to the people. This is what is government is doing. So, but the problem here is Government of India is giving MSP to only 23 crops. 23 crops include what? In that nearly 40% goes to paddy, wheat, 29% to paddy. In that 40% of wheat, 90% is from Punjab region, 80% is from Haryana region. Okay, in that 29% of paddy, 70% is from Punjab region. Okay, Punjab, Haryana region is called as football. Okay, so this 23 crops in that 40% is only for wheat and 70% is only for wheat and paddy. Remaining 30% for other particular crops. Okay, so the farmers of India, so what they are doing? So farmers of India, in order to get benefits, because if I am a farmer, what I will try to do? I will try to get a fixed price for my good. So what I will try to do? Which is the safest product for me? The safest product is what? For wheat and rice. Why? Because Government of India is giving me what? MSP. So even if other person doesn't buy, I will get a fixed price of MSP, because Government of India before every season only it will say 1800 for quintal for this product, this much for this much product. It will predetermine, it will say it. So after the crop, Government of India, farmer will be sure that let anyone not buy. Government of India will buy us. So in that way, they will go to the market and they will sell in the APMC mandis. So almost 90% of farmers sell their products in the APMC mandis. Why? Because they will sell at MSP prices. First point. Second point, if MSP is fixed by the government, so other corporates, if they have to sell, if they have to buy any good, will they buy at lesser MSP? No, because already government is buying at good prices now. So they have to give more prices. They have to give more money so that they can buy. If not, entire people will go to what? Will go to government only. Entire people will go to government to sell their goods. But no, so corporates, what they have to do? Corporates have to buy goods with more price than MSP. Then only farmers will sell their products. Got it? This is the situation. But now what happened? So listen, in that also, and remember another case guys, small farmers, especially in India, small farmers, what they are doing? They are trying to produce goods for their survival. If I am trying to prepare, if I produce rice, in that 70% I will use for myself, remaining 30% I will sell. Big farmers, if they have more than 30 acres, 40 acres, they will come to APMC market, they will try to sell. Then what private companies will do? Big farmer has more choices. Either he can sell outside, he can go to APMC markets, he can sell. So what private companies will do? Private companies will take from both big farmers and small farmers and they will go to other APMC markets, or somewhere they will go and somewhere they will sell. Okay, so big farmers, they'll go to Reliance Fresh, they'll go to more and they'll sell at higher prices after processing. So this is the situation present in market. But now what Government of India is doing? They have made the concept of APMC redundant. Now other than APMC, anywhere you can sell. Anywhere you can sell. From this what happens, you know? First point, government is not going to procure. First situation is what? Government is not going to procure. How? Government of India is not coming to the APMC market and is not going to procure now. Okay, so who will take now? of course, the private customers or private corporates are the only buyers. As there is no government, there is no MSP. If there is no minimum support price, so what these particular corporates will do, it's not necessary for them to give more than MSP. They will fix their own prices. This is the situation is happening in Bihar and Gujarat case. In Bihar, there is no APMC markets. 2006, they have lost. So if I take the same quality rice in Bihar and Punjab, the same quality rice is sold in Bihar for 900 rupees. And the same quality rice is sold in Punjab for 1800 rupees, 1900 rupees. So what is the difference here? Because in Bihar, there is no private government procurement. As government is not buying, so it is not the responsibility of the corporate to give more than MSP. But whereas in Punjab market, government is buying, government procures. So as government is procuring, so automatically other corporates have to give more than government. Because people will sell to the government now. You will say, sir, then why government needs to sell their goods, government needs to buy. What is the need for government? I'll tell you, already I've said government has to buy because they have to honor National Food Security Act. If they don't honor, it is a legislation. If government, people will sue against the government. It is the responsibility, it is the obligation of the government to honor National Food Security Act. If they don't honor, they have to face the problems. So if then government has to import. If there is no food in India, they have to import from other countries. Is it possible for any country in the world to feed 120 crore people? It's impossible. So government's obligation is to buy food products. So government has to buy. So ultimately this APMC, what it is trying to do, after removing APMCs, after making APMCs redundant, Government of India is trying to move out of agriculture business. If it is trying to move out of agriculture business, then the problems, then the farmer, then the migration what happened in Bihar. See, people in India, more migration happened from Bihar. Why? Because farming is not at all profitable there. Why? Because I already said, APMC problem is also one of the reason. So therefore, the farmers from Bihar are traveling to other regions. Got it, guys? This is the situation in Bihar. Okay, so in that way, government is moving away from agriculture business. Then farmers and corporates, they are only left players in the market. Who is stronger? Of course, corporates. And farmer, is he stronger? No, because with 1.12 acres of land, is he stronger against the corporate? No. So if they go to court also, and one thing, there is no provision of going to court also. They can only go to SDM. Is it possible for a small farmer to go to a collector? No. In that way, this situation is, so farming produce trade and commerce bill is a contentious bill. Yes, in paper it is excellent that farmers can realize a price. He can go to any market, wherever the price is high, he can go there. But theoretically it is good. But practically, that is a problem. Guys, we have completed regarding two bills, the Farmers Empowerment Bill and the Farmer Trade and Commerce Bill. Now we'll get into the particular act called Essential Commodities Act, which is an amendment actually. So, before this amendment, how was the situation? Actually, what was the need for this Essential Commodities Act? See, during some pandemic situation, crisis situations, so not allowing people to hoard certain very essential commodities like cereals, potatoes, onions, which we use in daily life. So not people, like if suddenly a situation comes, like example corona or pandemic situation, in that situation, if I thinking that prices will rise, so if I store everything in my godown without leaving into the market or without allowing into the market, then automatically what happens? Prices will rise. In that situation, what I will do? I will release it into the market, so that using the benefit of the situation, getting the benefit of the situation. So artificial scarcity is being created by me. That is, I take benefit of the such situations. Got it? This is situation actually. This is actually the context. In that context, government brought what? Essential Commodities Act earlier. As per that act, no one can hold essential commodities which are very much in demand in the daily life. Recently, masks and sanitizers are also kept in that bill only, kept in that act, kept in that list. So it has two lists. One is perishable item list, another is non-perishable item list. These two lists now are like a timely time. If a particular thing that now suddenly onion is in price rise, then what government will do? Take onion and put it into the list, so that no particular corporate or no particular seller can hoard the onions. Farmers can store. Why farmers can store? Farmers can store because in India 70% of farmers produce goods for their own survival. Okay, so that's the reason why. So all corporates, all particular middlemen, they try to create, they hoard the goods and create an artificial scarcity in the society market. In order to stop them doing that, we have bought what? Essential Commodities Act. But that act now we've actually made an amendment. Why? What was the intention of the government? Government said that because of such stopping, because of putting the items in the essential list, farmer could not sell or could not store the goods. Okay, not farmers, especially say that large farmers, they could not store their goods. Okay, leave about storing. The farmers could not store and could not sell at the best times. The farmer could not realize the best price of the good. That was the motto. But see, literally to say clear, farmers will store only goods. But government is saying that farmers should not, farmers can store now. Okay, already farmers are storing. But corporates were not allowed to store. But now anyone can store. Because of such situation, the government will not control the goods. Government will not control perishable and non-perishable essential commodities. Government removed every item from that list. Okay, what government said? We will only involve. Government will only involve in war-like situation, pandemic situation, and whenever there is high price rise. High price rise matlab a situation where for the perishable goods, if the price is 100 times more, if onion price is 100 today, tomorrow it should be 200, then only government will involve. Similarly, for non-perishable items, if the product price increases 50 times more, then only government will involve. Example, one item is sold at 100 rupees, non-perishable. If it become 151 only, then government will involve. That means 100 to 150, that there is a gap now. In that anyone can put any price. So who is using the benefit? Will farmer? No, how? Does farmer has, is it India's infrastructure good? Farming infrastructure especially? No. Do we have cold storages? Do we have warehouses? Do we have something? Do we have transport facilities? We don't. So how come farmer use extra capital to store his goods so that he could take the best situation, benefit of the best situation? He cannot do. He has to ultimately sell it to the corporate only. That corporate can store it in the cold storages because he has that much capital. In that way, what's the situation now? So automatically the corporates can stop till the prices will increase to 200%. 100% in case of perishable items. 50% more till case of non-perishable. So that farmers can use the benefit now. Can take the benefit of the situation. Earlier essential commodities, corporates were not allowed to hoard goods. Now corporates were allowed. So who has freedom now? Corporates got freedom instead of farmers. So theoretically farmers is getting benefited. But if you see practical situation, who is getting benefited? Not farmers guys, corporates. So essential commodities, this is first situation. Second situation, the corporates can hoard it. So what is the situation? Tell me now. The corporates can hoard it and sell it anywhere. And because of second will, corporates can sell it anywhere. He can sell in Punjab, he can sell in Haryana, he can sell other than India also. He can sell other than India. He can sell that items. And got it guys, that means the corporates using this third one has given him provision so that he could take benefit of second one. Corporates, he can store items. So he can store because third Essential Commodities Amendment Act is permitting him to store. After storing, he can sell it also. He can create artificial scarcity situation. So who is getting lost now? Farmers, that is okay. But consumers also guys. Earlier consumers would have got the benefit. But now consumers, till the price increases 100%, government will not involve. Till that situation, consumers will face the problem. If onion prices, if it is 100 today, tomorrow if it becomes 180 also, government will not involve. Because government said that according to the bill, it will involve only in a situation when the prices becomes 100%. It said if the prices of the perishable items become 100%, government will involve. If the prices of non-perishable items, if it become 50% more, then only government will involve. So entire burden will be left borne by whom? Your pocket and my pocket guys. Okay, so this is this situation. Now assume a situation. Now recently government of India it said that, and why government of India is not buying goods? What government of India said the reason is, it said that FCA godowns are filled with buffer stocks. All rats, all certain rodents were having entire, spoiling the grain cereals. So instead of buying for farmer, procuring it and put it, making the FCI godowns overflow, what I will do, I will give private players to buy. So what it said, instead of I storing it for many days and giving it for the rodents, matlab leaving it for the rodents, rats, something. What I will do, I will leave the foreign private players to buy the goods. But remember thing guys, if FCI stocks are so full, then why government of India could not give migrants here, why government of India stopped giving ration to migrants? It only has given for 3 months only. It could have given for 8 months. Why couldn't it give? First point. Second, if government of India has much FCI overflow, instead of giving midday meal scheme, it could have gone for breakfast also. In that way, our hunger index might increase. Our rank might increase. Our performance might increase. Why government of India is not doing? Second case. Third, instead of doing this, instead of going for rice and wheat buying, government of India could buy pulses, oil seeds. So it could be more benefit now. Already we are importing more pulses. We are importing more oil seeds from other countries. So government could buy from our farmers only, na? So that farmers will get momentum to go for that production. Farmers will get encouragement. But government of India, it found and it diagnosed the problem good, but the treatment was wrong. So government of India, instead of making APMCs, instead of getting market reforms, government of India, instead of getting FCI reforms, government of India has made the problem more worse by removing entirely public procurement and leaving entirely into the hands of the private players. Now think that suddenly a situation comes where recently government of India said that the FCI stocks which are overflowing, we will use that rice for biofuel. Excellent step it is. Assume in the coming days biofuels are more costly, raw materials also very much costly. Then the farmers, now what these particular corporates will do? Corporates will buy for farmers because farmers cannot sell directly to the biofuel companies. Corporates will buy. But will corporates sell the food products to the people, or will it give to the biofuel? They will go for biofuel. Why? Because that will give them more profit. Now, public welfare will never be the motto of the private companies. Ultimately, what is their motto? Their motto is profit. That is for sure. Example, Pepsi case. Okay, so if entire corporates they buy commodities, agri commodities, and supply to the other non-food activities, then what happens to our country? Food insecurity. Automatically income insecurity is created. Example, Bihar like situation. Food insecurity also will be created. So this is a pathetic. In the coming days, APMC system will be lost. MSP system will be lost, and prices of goods also shall increase, guys. So all these provisions, till now what I've discussed, I have said the intention of the government also. But practically what's happening also I've given you the clarity, guys. Okay, what's happening intentionally and practically what's happening also I've said. So ultimately we can say who is now, if I have to clearly say who is getting benefited, farmers or the corporates, you will tell the answer, guys. Now read clause by clause of entire Farm Bills 2020. There is no clause of court dealing the issue. SDM has to deal the issue. Okay, so there are a number of things which are clearly discussed, and I have discussed every particular contentious issue also. So farmers are fighting for removal of these three bills. Why especially Punjab and why only Punjab and Haryana farmers? Why not others? I'll tell you one thing, guys. The infrastructure in Punjab, Haryana is stronger. How? I'll tell you. See, according to M.S. Swaminathan, he has his report. He says that APMC market shall be successful only when the market is 80 kilometer radius. If the market is such bigger that it occupies nearly 80 kilometers, and it should be nearly, every farmer's reach should be within 5 kilometers. But that means within 5 kilometers I should get some APMC mandi. This is the condition kept by Swaminathan for the fulfillment of APMC market objective. And green revolution happened only in Punjab and Haryana. And this requirement of APMCs, that 80 kilometer bigger and within reach of 5 kilometers, this is only there in Punjab and Haryana, guys. So APMC markets are excellently working there. So that's the reason why, if you compare Punjab and Bihar, the prices of same quality rice is 800 in Bihar, but whereas it is 1900 in Punjab. So because APMC markets are stronger there. One first point. Second, the 500 plus farmer organizations are working in Punjab. Organizations of farmers are very stronger in Punjab and Haryana region. Okay, Punjab Haryana region organizations are so stronger. So automatically it is very easy for them to mobilize. Okay guys, very easy for them to mobilize, and they can come to the roads and fight. But whereas this is not the same case with entire India, because entire India is rain-fed agriculture. Agriculture is not so predominant. Okay, even though many people are dependent on it, but that economy of that particular states are not dependent on agriculture. But whereas Punjab and Haryana, predominantly agriculture dependent states. Okay, so the other states from entire India, they are not predominantly dependent on agriculture. So that is a problem. So that at the same time, first another case is Punjab and Haryana, they dependent on what? Rice and wheat much. Rice and wheat much. So MSP scheme is also for the almost 70% MSP schemes works for rice and wheat. Almost 90% of the production in Punjab and Haryana rice and wheat. So rice and wheat is getting affected more. So Punjab and Haryana farmers came forward. So it is not that other farmers have nothing to do with it. The farmers might come. Example, freedom struggle. Freedom struggle, was it the entire all states contributed to the same? No, north states contributed more, not the south states. Was freedom struggle wrong? No, it's not. The freedom struggle was not wrong. Even south states wanted freedom, but they lacked mobilization. Whereas north states could mobilize. Understood, guys? Why only Punjab and Haryana, this same question if you pose yourself, freedom struggle was also not entire India. It was only limited to certain parts. But was freedom struggle wrong? No. So this is the type of propaganda, guys, to limit the farmer struggle actually. Okay. So only Punjab and Haryana farmers are affected because they are only getting much affected because of this bill. Got it? Next. So ultimately what I can say? I can say that farmers and corporates, if I compare these people, theoretically the diagnosis of the problem is correct, but the treatment was wrong by the government of India. Yes, solutions for the problems laid in contract farming. But the problem is government is not there in the agreement there. Government is nowhere a member, nowhere a particular member in that between farmer and corporate. Government is nowhere a mediator. Government is nowhere a facilitator. Government has left the business according to these bills. Yes, privatization, I'm not wrong. Privatization might bring investment. Privatization might bring excellent. All technology. This shall be helpful for the farmer to double his income. But guys, this is not the way. There are many other ways. So if you have to double the farmer's income, infrastructure laying is important. Create cold storages. So all the problems till now I discussed about the farmers, if they got satisfied, if they got completed, I will be the first person to support these bills. And farmers in India are minuscule, small farmers. So government should be there to protect them. But nowhere in these bills, government is taking any role. And the farmers are demanding what? MSP, minimum support price, as a legislation. Why? Because government of India, if they give MSP as a legislation, it is their obligation on them to protect the farmers. Okay, but government is saying I don't have money. If government of India doesn't have money, but it is the responsibility of the government of India now to give food security to people. So in order to fulfill that food security, government has to take this role. Government has to increase its sources of income. Because till now, if I have to say clearly, guys, why India's agriculture is such redundant? Because till now, after independence, India's policy towards agriculture was never pro-agriculture. If you see any textbook, any book, it says that a country develops only when it shifts people from agriculture to industry. This shall be the statement, guys. So instead of putting that statement, it should have put in this way: a country shall develop only when agriculture become more productive. So our policy towards agriculture was not to make it more productive. Our policy towards agriculture was to make people away from agriculture, to make people more towards industries. Our policy was that. Got it, guys? So ultimately, on a good note, I want to tell one thing that yes, even though mainstream media or someone might be trying to minuscule the farmer struggle, yes, their demands are genuine. Of course, leaving political axis or leaving political angle in it, I wanted to make it clear with the technical terms that after reading this bill, these are the certain issues which I felt wrong as per the farmer's point of view. So thank you, guys. Have a nice day. So I hope you form an opinion by yourself of reading this entire bill. Thank you so much.